Hi, my name is Edna. I'm 23 years old. Like many others, I have a tragic tale of my own, but there's more to my story than just tragedy. It's like something straight out of a movie. Before I tell you my story, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to show me your support. It would mean a lot to me. My story began when I was in college. I came from a lower middle class family and my parents worked really hard to support my studies. My goal was just to graduate college and get a job. There was nothing else I needed until I met Carson. Carson was what you would categorize as a typical bad boy. He had a reputation for being a player and a spoiled rich brat. I never crossed paths with him as I was mostly stuck in the library studying, but one day I was in the campus cafe buying myself a coffee when I realized that I'd run out of money. It was a really embarrassing moment for me. So many people were watching and I was canceling my order with this excuse. It was just humiliating. Before I could open my mouth, though, someone appeared beside me and paid for my order. I looked up to see Carson grinning down at me. "Your coffee is on me today," he smiled. When we got away from the counter, I gave him a nervous smile. "Thank you for saving me from embarrassment back there." "Instead of thanking me, I would like it if you could repay me," he said. "Oh," I said, fishing my phone out of my bag. "Please give me your number. I'll call you tomorrow and return you the—" "Do contact me, but treat me to a coffee instead," he replied, saving his number on my phone before leaving. And that was the start of my downfall. I didn't know it at the time because it was hard enough for me to digest that someone like Carson had approached me and wanted to hang out again. Every rumor about him seemed like a lie after meeting him in person. I didn't know how I could be such a fool as to fall for his fake charm. Anyway, so the next day I contacted him and we met at the same cafe. We got to know each other better and I started liking him more and more. We used to hang out every day after that. I even stopped going to the library just so I could spend time with him. Then I started skipping class, and a few weeks later, the guilt set in. "Carson, I need to study and prepare for my exams. I can't see you every day from now on," I told him one day. "What? Are you serious? Who even studies nowadays?" He laughed. "I do," I replied. "I have no other means to get a job and live my life. I can't slack anymore." "Edna, why are you worrying about such things when you have me?" he said seriously. "My family has a lot of connections. Getting you a job would be a piece of cake." "But why would you do that for me?" I asked. "We're just friends." "Come on, you really don't know?" "I know that you're not that dense," he said, grabbing my hands. "I like you, and I know that you like me too. Why do we have to be just friends? Let's start dating." It was so simple for him to say that, yet to me, it meant changing everything about myself. Our worlds were too different, and I had to make compromises in my life if I wanted to be with Carson. But strangely enough, I was ready to take that leap because being with Carson gave me a thrill, something that I'd been missing in my life up until now. Somehow, I passed that semester amidst partying with Carson every night, going to clubs and dates, making friends with all the rich people that Carson used to hang out with. I was having the time of my life. Carson asked me to go on a trip with him during the holidays. We spent a whole month enjoying a yacht, exotic beaches, and expensive resorts. By this time, I'd completely cut off communication with my parents or anyone from my old life. I'd become a completely new person, something that I shouldn't have been so proud of. I failed to realize that I was chasing an illusion and that these people who were partying and laughing with me today were doing so just because they were bored. I was a new toy who could be tossed away any time. And that time came sooner than I could have known. I got pregnant by the end of this trip, and I told this to Carson when we returned back. That was all it took for him to completely abandon me. He blocked my number everywhere and absolutely disappeared from my life within one day, as if he had never existed in the first place. I had no money, no support, and no home. I couldn't even contact my parents because I was so ashamed. Reality hit me like a ton of bricks. I was living on the streets and reduced to begging. Within only a few months, I would be giving birth. The only thing I had left with me was my phone. I passed a few days wandering around, begging people for money and food, and spending my nights in abandoned construction sites. None of those so-called friends that I'd made recently received my call. Everyone had shunned me. No one cared whether I was dead or alive. I was completely by myself. If this continued, how was I supposed to take care of a child? Carson may have been okay with abandoning his own child, but I wasn't like him. I wanted to provide it with a proper home with love and support. I browsed through my phone, and after researching, I came up with a plan. I decided to document my story online for millions of people to see and ask for their support. I had no idea if anyone would even believe me, but it was worth a shot. So I stayed up all night to document everything that had happened to me so far. I kept it honest and simple. The result was mixed. I got many hate comments and people lashing out at me for being so stupid. But many people reached out to help me with small donations. I even set up crowdfunding and I was able to collect some money from there. The support I received was small, but every penny mattered to me. I used this money to check in at a cheap nearby hotel. After clearing my mind and thinking a lot, I got ready the next day and I went to McDonald's, asking them to hire me. "I'm sorry, we're not hiring right now," the manager said. "Please come back when there are positions open." I had no other option than to tell him my pitiful story. He realized how desperate I was and decided to give me a chance. And that's how I started working at McDonald's. I was now earning enough to live in a somewhat stable life. I still continued documenting my journey online and my views were slowly starting to go up. The negative comments had reduced and now people were coming to my support. Within months, my story became really popular online and I became a local celebrity. And it worked too. I was one of the best employees. My colleagues and superiors were always happy with me. Everything was slowly coming back into place when one day I received a call from an unknown number. It turned out to be Carson's parents. They'd seen my story online and they wanted to meet me in person. Well, it's not like I had anything to lose now, so I agreed to meet them. Contrary to what I was expecting, Carson's parents were really warm and welcoming. They seemed ashamed of what their son had done. "Though we're still not sure that your story is true, we want to believe you," his mother said, "because if it's really Carson's child, then it's our responsibility as well, and we can't let you struggle alone anymore." They told me that they hadn't talked to Carson yet, and it would be better to keep everything a secret until the baby was born. I agreed. They asked me to move in with them so that they could look after me. Carson used to live separately and never visited his parents, so it wasn't going to be a problem. That's how I ended up moving in with Carson's parents. They kept their promise and provided me with all the support they could. Because of them, I was also able to contact my parents again and reconcile with them. My parents were shocked and angry after hearing everything, but they got over it and then they embraced me. The good thing was that both mine and Carson's parents got along really well. Now it finally felt like my child was going to have a nice family after all. Time passed like this, and I finally gave birth to a baby boy. A DNA test was conducted soon after his birth, and this confirmed that Carson was the father of the child. "That means our son has done absolutely detestable things," Carson's mother said. "He doesn't deserve to even see this child." Carson was soon sent away out of the country by his parents, and my son was declared the next heir to their family. Now I could live without any worries. Carson was out of my life for the time being, and my child was getting the proper loving care he deserved, just as I'd wished. I didn't have anything to be cautious of now, or so I thought. Once I started living with Carson's parents, I started noticing some strange and peculiar things in the family that made it clear why Carson was the way he was. His parents weren't as innocent as they appeared on the outside. In fact, a strange kind of fear was gnawing at my heart, and everything felt like the calm before the storm. And later, I found out that my hunch was absolutely correct. This is my life, and of course, things keep happening. A lot happened even after the birth of my son. Do you want to know the rest of my story? We like to keep our videos short, so I have to end my story here today, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.